Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Schottenstein Center in Columbus, Ohio, and the show just ended. And Monday Night Raw tonight, the show sucked, in my opinion. This was an awful show, and you could tell that it was a throwaway show, and there's WWE is saving everything up for the draft, which is this Friday. It's going to be happening on SmackDown, and of course, it's going to take place, next Monday on Raw. So you can tell why the show was absolutely terrible tonight. WWE is just waiting to get the draft here because things are going to change. Superstars are going to be moved around, and who knows where some of the superstars will go. Some will go to Monday Night Raw, some will go to SmackDown, and possibly some will be drafted back down to NXT, and we might get some NXT call-ups. NXT drafts to either Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. But what we got on Monday Night Raw tonight, we had the Raw Tag Team Championship on the line, where AwesomeTruth, R-Truth, and The Miz defend the titles against DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa. We had the New Day in action, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They ended up taking on Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. We saw this a lot of times before. Same old. Sheamus was in action, and he had taken on Shinsuke Nakamura. We saw Ricochet and Andrade. They ended up teaming up to take on Santos Escobar and JD McDonagh. And the main event, we had the Women's Battle Royal to determine who will be the Women's World Champion. So that was the main event of Monday Night Raw. But overall, what an awful show this was tonight for Monday Night Raw. I mean, we did get Gunther returning. We haven't seen Gunther since, WrestleMania 40 when he lost the Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn. So it was good to see Gunther back tonight. But anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw tonight opened up with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Both of them were in the ring. Michael Cole got on the mic. He ended up talking about how Rhea Ripley last week on Monday Night Raw had to vacate her Women's World Championship because of Rhea Ripley, having an injury. So Pat McAfee ended up saying for only the fourth time ever, a Battle Royal will determine a new Women's World Champion. He ended up saying that the last woman standing will be the brand new Women's World Champion. So in this Women's World Championship, Battle Royal, we had Becky Lynch, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Natalya, Ivy Nile, Maxine Dupree. Why was she in this? Care to explain, WWE? We had Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Liv Morgan, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, and Nia Jax. 4 of the women here are tag teams. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, they're a tag team. Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, tag team. Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, tag team. Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, tag team. The others, just regular. So basically, it was 4 woman tag teams in this Battle Royal. Yeah, how original is that? So then, we had Jey Uso. Jey Uso ended up coming out. Of course, Jey Uso is the number 1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship to face, Damian Priest. So Jey Uso made his way to the ring. Everybody was doing the Jey Uso. And everybody was going, yeet. So, of course, Damian Priest versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship will be taking place 1 week from Saturday at Backlash in France. So Jay got on the mic. He ended up saying, main event Jey Uso is now in your city. He ended up saying Backlash is in 2 weeks, which the crowd ended up going yeet. So he has a lot to prove. The crowd went yeet. Jey Uso ended up saying that he'll prove to the world who he says he is. Main event Jey Uso. Jay ended up going on to say that he has to beat Damian Priest to make sure everything he went through was worth it. And that led to Damian Priest making his way out, the World Heavyweight Champion. Priest ended up making his way to the ring. So Priest then got into the ring. Jey Uso was pacing around. Priest got on the mic. He ended up saying that Jay is thinking the wrong thing. Priest then congratulated Jay on the vibe of his gimmick with the whole yeet. He ended up saying that it's working. And they went to war last year. Priest ended up saying that he wants to talk about one specific night. Priest ended up saying that he has never talked about this publicly. He ended up saying that there was one night that Jay whooped his ass so badly that he went up to him in the locker room and he told Jay to his face that he earned all his respect. And Priest ended up saying that's why he wanted Jay to join the Judgment Day. So Priest ended up saying that he told Jay they were going out and that drinks were on him. Priest ended up saying that he knew he paid the bill. To which Jay was like, oh, I took an Uber. So he ended up saying that Jay said something to him that he's very proud of. To which Jay ended up saying, we next, Oos. Priest ended up saying that he's proud to stand here with Jay and to say to him that he was right. Priest then corrected himself by saying that Jay was only half right. So Priest ended up saying that the World Heavyweight Championship shows why he was next. And he ended up saying this title shows why he is now. He ended up saying Jay is just first on a list of people the machine will feed him to make sure the title looks good on him. Priest ended up saying that Jay will be the first to fall, but he can be the first to lead the people across the world to make sure all rise for El Campeon. So Priest ended up going to leave the ring. Jay then called Priest back. Jay ended up asking Priest if that's all he sees him, as just another tag team guy. So Jay was like, tough talk coming from the leader of the Judgment Day. Jay ended up saying to Priest that the only reason why Priest is the leader of the Judgment Day is because Rhea Ripley got hurt. So Jay then ended up telling Priest to give Rhea Ripley his best. And Jay was like, oh, that makes Priest Dominic Mysterio's bitch. To which Priest got furious when Jay ended up saying that. So Jay ended up saying that Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania and made himself World Heavyweight Champion. Priest ended up saying that he thinks Jay is being fed to him, but it's the other way around. So the crowd ended up saying yeet, and so Priest and Jay ended up going face to face in the ring. So Jay and McDonagh ran into the ring to blindside Jay. Jay tried to avoid McDonagh, but McDonagh ended up colliding with Jay. Jay ended up going to hit McDonagh with a super kick, but McDonagh sidestepped the super kick, which caused Priest to be hit with the super kick instead from McDonagh. So Jay started taunting both Priest and McDonagh, and he left the ring. Priest was irate as he got to his feet, and he stared angrily down at McDonagh. So pretty much that was basically that. But overall, I thought this was a decent segment here with Jey Uso. You know, him going into Backlash in France in 2 weeks to face Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then as I was about to say SmackDown, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we got a promo for the tournaments of both the King and Queen of the Ring, which are taking place next month. So the new King and Queen of the Ring will be crowned in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, on May 25th. And I know I said when they did the King and Queen of the Ring last time that I didn't want to see a King and Queen of the Ring anymore, but that was under Vince McMahon's administration. This is Triple H. This is a whole new administration with Triple H, behind this. And this has the potential to be good, in my opinion, both the King and Queen of the Ring. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what Triple H is going to do with the King and Queen of the Ring. So I'm interested. So let's see where the King and Queen of the Ring, goes, until we get to the Premium Live event in Saudi Arabia. And then we had the first match of the night, which was DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus AwesomeTruth, R-Truth, and The Miz. This is for the Raw. This is for the Raw Tag Team Championship, or the World Tag Team Championship. And this was a decent match here. Match started off with Gargano and R-Truth. Truth ended up getting the crowd going. He ended up doing a little dance. Both Gargano and Truth ended up locking up. And what I really liked was Gargano and Ciampa. They were referencing DX. Johnny Gargano, when he came out, he was wearing, the DIY shirt, which looked like, the DX shirt. So that was pretty cool, because R-Truth got them confused with Triple H and Shawn Michaels, to which he ended up calling Ciampa and Gargano, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. But both Truth and Gargano end up locking up. Truth ended up wrenching Gargano's arm. Gargano ended up twisting to reverse, the pressure of the lockup, and he ended up wrenching Truth's arm. Truth ended up rolling around to reverse the pressure. He connected with an arm drag. Truth ended up keeping the arm bar applied. Gargano ended up fighting to his feet. He countered out with an arm drag. Truth ended up taking Gargano down. He ended up jumping over a takedown. He ended up doing a leap and split. So Gargano looked impressed with what R-Truth, did. And so he shook hands with Truth. So both Gargano and Truth ended up locking up again. Gargano applied a side headlock. Truth backed Gargano into the ropes, and Miz tagged in. So Miz and R-Truth ended up double teaming on Gargano, and they ended up delivering a double hip toss to Gargano, and they followed up with a double team elbow drop on Gargano. So Miz ended up going for the cover. Gargano kicked out. Miz ended up sending Gargano into the corner. He ended up charging. Gargano ended up avoiding and rolled Miz up, to which Miz ended up kicking out. Gargano ended up going for a kick to the Miz, but Miz blocked the kick. He ended up locking in the figure four on Gargano. Gargano started kicking Miz away and tagged in Ciampa. Miz ended up going for the skull crushing finale, but Ciampa ended up elbowing Miz in his mouth. Ciampa sidestepped a big boot from the Miz, and both Ciampa and Miz were exchanging blows to each other. Miz and Ciampa ended up countering each other, and Miz then applied the figure four on Ciampa. Gargano ended up breaking up the figure four with a basement drop kick. Truth ended up running in, and Gargano ended up sending Truth out of the ring. Miz then ended up hitting Gargano and sent him to the apron. Ciampa then rolled Miz up, to which Miz ended up kicking out. Gargano then ended up tagging in. He ended up hitting a spear to the Miz. So we had Ciampa's left knee. It appeared to be giving Ciampa, a little trouble, and Gargano was looking all concerned about that. So then Gargano then ended up hitting Miz with the plancha. DIY then ended up sitting on the apron. Of course, they did their shtick, the clapping, the patting on the back. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, R-Truth was in control of the match. He ended up pinning Ciampa with a sit-out front suplex. Miz then tagged in. He ran over Ciampa with some clotheslines. Miz then ended up kicking Ciampa into the corner, started kicking away at Ciampa's chest. Miz then backed up. He ended up pinning a patented corner clothesline to Ciampa. Miz got on the apron. He ended up kicking Gargano, and then he delivered a DDT on the apron. Miz then shouldered Ciampa and springboarded off the top rope into a knee out of midair, which was delivered by Ciampa. So Ciampa ended up going for the cover. Miz then kicked out. So Miz then crawled to his corner, started kicking away at Ciampa. Truth then ended up tagging in, and he ended up clotheslining Ciampa, and then he ended up clotheslining Gargano. Truth ended up pinning Ciampa with a pair of running shoulder tackles. Truth then connected with a back suplex powerbomb, just like, John Cena. Of course, Truth did the "you can't see me." And then R-Truth went for the 5-knuckle shuffle, but Gargano ended up super kicking Truth down. Ciampa then ended up telling Truth to suck it. And then he delivered pedigree to Truth. Ciampa ended up going for the cover, and Truth ended up kicking out. So Ciampa then ended up kneeing Miz in the face to knock him off the apron. Gargano ended up following up with a suicide dive on the Miz. Truth then ended up rolling Ciampa up, and Ciampa kicked out. Truth then ended up kicking Ciampa, ended up going for the scissor kick, but Ciampa ended up avoiding that. Ciampa then kneed Truth in his face. Gargano ended up tagging in, and so Gargano and Ciampa ended up hitting the meat in the middle to Truth. So we had Gargano end up going for the cover. Miz pulled Gargano out of the ring to break up the pin. So at the end of the match, we had Miz end up going for the skull crushing finale, but Gargano countered that into a roll up, to which the Miz ended up kicking out. Miz then popped up, so we had both R-Truth and the Miz end up in a truth crushing finale. Of course, the skull crushing finale and the what's up on Gargano. So AwesomeTruth end up winning the match, and they retain the World Tag Team Championship. Post-match, AwesomeTruth end up standing tall in the ring, and they end up shaking hands with Johnny Gargano, and they wanted to shake hands with Ciampa, but Ciampa wanted nothing of them. Ciampa ended up angrily walking out of the ring. So pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was a decent match here. And then we had Damian Priest. He was backstage with JD McDonagh. Priest was angry at McDonagh because he never asked McDonagh for his help. He ended up saying tonight it caused him to get kicked in the face. So Dominic ended up walking in. His left arm was in a sling, and he walked in with Santos Escobar. Yes, Dominic is legit injured. So Dominic ended up saying that he got banged up and asked Escobar to return the favor from WrestleMania. So Escobar ended up asking if they have a problem. Priest ended up saying that he clearly does, but they have no choice. Priest then ended up telling Dominic to go out there and handle his business. Priest then ended up telling JD McDonagh to stay out of his business. So pretty much that was basically that. And then as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the return of Gunther, the ring general. So Gunther ended up making his way out along with Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. Gunther, has been out since he lost at WrestleMania. He lost the Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn ending Gunther's 666 days as the Intercontinental Champion. An all-time record for Gunther. So Vinci ended up handing Gunther the mic. Gunther ended up saying that he knows they expect him to talk about WrestleMania and to take shots at Sami Zayn. But Gunther ended up saying that he won't do that. He ended up saying that he took some time away to digest what happened and wants to say this. Gunther ended up saying that for 666 days, he elevated the Intercontinental Championship to heights never seen before. He ended up saying in that process, he became the greatest champion in its illustrious history. I agree with Gunther on that. He was the greatest Intercontinental Champion in, its history. He ended up saying that his name, the Ring General, Gunther, will forever be embedded in the history of the Intercontinental Championship. To which the crowd ended up giving Gunther a really good ovation, and he deserves it. 666 days as the Intercontinental Champion, that is absolutely great, an all-time record. So Gunther ended up saying, however, that also means that for almost 2 years, he was walking around here with a big target on his back, with the pressure of living up to everyone's and his own expectations. He ended up saying that weight has been lifted off his shoulders, and he ended up thanking Sami Zayn. Gunther ended up saying that now he's not a target anymore, and that he has gone from being the hunted to the hunter. And he ended up saying that he can do whatever he wants. He ended up saying that this is a brand new era, and no matter which brand he's drafted to, he'll make sure his name is embedded in a new era. So Gunther ended up officially declaring himself in participation in the King of the Ring tournament. So he will be a part of the King of the Ring tournament, which is great. So Gunther ended up saying after that, it's up to him to decide which championship to take next. He ended up saying whether it's Sami Zayn and his Intercontinental Championship or any other title. He ended up saying as a champion, you will be targeted and hunted by a challenger who can not only take titles, but can hold them longer than anyone. He ended up saying that he's already the general of the ring and will soon be king of the ring. And then this brought out the New Day, Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston. Xavier Woods ended up saying that he wants to sound the alarm. So Kofi was just, doing an alarm sound. So Kofi ended up saying that Gunther is correct. He ended up saying that it is a new era, and that the New Day is the best way to usher in that new era. Xavier Woods ended up mentioning that he is the current King of the Ring. Of course, because he ended up winning the last King of the Ring. So both Xavier and Kofi got into the ring. Woods ended up saying that Gunther is a spoiler for his throne and a pretender. He ended up saying that he will cement his legacy by becoming a 2-time King of the Ring. So Gunther ended up saying that he will reestablish the King of the Ring tournament, while Xavier Woods will be remembered as a man who won it by accident and pretended to be a champion. So Xavier Woods then ended up mentioning that Gunther isn't a champion. So Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston ended up going back and forth. They were asking Gunther where his gold is at, where his Intercontinental Championship is. So Gunther was like, oh, this is beneath me. He ended up telling Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser to handle this. So Xavier Woods was not happy. He was like, oh, well, we faced them so much already. But if Gunther wants them to beat those cheeks, they'll oblige, because New Day rocks. So pretty much that was basically that. But I thought Gunther delivered one hell of a promo here, talking about, his reign as the Intercontinental Champion for 666 days, an all-time record, and how he brought prestige to the Intercontinental Championship, and how he will forever be embedded in the history of the title. And, he wants to bring, prestige to, the King of the Ring tournament and reestablish it. I thought that was, good choice of words for Gunther, by Gunther, delivering that. And then we had Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. We've seen these guys go at it before. Nothing new here. Just the same old. So Kofi ended up starting off against Kaiser. Kaiser ended up whipping Kofi into the ropes. Kofi ended up countering with a monkey flip, which was followed by a drop kick to Kaiser. Kofi ended up pulling Kaiser up, but Kaiser powered Kofi into the corner. Kaiser ended up taking Kofi down. He ended up going for the cover, to which Kofi ended up kicking out. Giovanni Vinci ended up tagging in. He started punching away at Kofi. Kofi started fighting back, and he tagged in Xavier Woods. Woods ended up hitting a double axe handle to Vinci's shoulder. Kofi then ended up tagging in. He ended up hitting a springboard crossbody block. He ended up going for the cover, to which Vinci kicked out. Kofi ended up sending Vinci into the ropes, but he ended up holding on, and he ended up booting Kofi. Kaiser then tagged in, and we had Kaiser and Vinci ended up hanging Kofi in the Tree of Woe. So we had both Vinci and Kaiser end up sandwiching Kofi with some drop kicks. Kaiser ended up sauntering around, and then Kofi ended up hitting Kaiser with a jawbreaker. Vinci then ended up tagging in, and Kofi ended up sending Kaiser over the top rope. Vinci grabbed Kofi, and both Vinci and Kaiser ended up hitting a high-low on Kofi. Vinci ended up knocking Woods off the apron, and he ended up going for the cover on Kofi, to which Kofi kicked out. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kaiser was standing over Kofi. Kofi started punching away at Kaiser. He ended up going for a tag to Xavier Woods, but Kaiser ended up holding Kofi back. Kaiser ended up sending Kofi into the corner, but he springboarded off the second rope with a takedown. So both Xavier Woods and Giovanni Vinci ended up tagging in. Woods ended up pinning a pair of clotheslines to Vinci. He ended up sending Vinci into the ropes for a side kick. Woods then ended up hitting the ropes and countered out of a takedown with a vertical suplex to Vinci. Woods ended up knocking Kaiser off the apron, and he ended up dropping Vinci into the middle rope. Woods then ended up splashing Vinci on the ropes. He ended up sliding to ringside to take Kaiser down. Woods then ended up hitting Vinci with a slingshot tornado DDT, to which he ended up going for the cover, to which Vinci ended up kicking out. So later on, we had Imperium. They ended up going for the Imperium bomb, but Woods ended up knocking Kaiser off the top into Vinci. Kofi then ended up hitting Vinci with a Hurricanrana. He then ended up clotheslining Kaiser over the top rope. Woods then ended up wiping Kaiser out with a diving clothesline off the apron. Woods then tagged in, and we had Woods and Kofi ended up hitting a backbreaker diving double stomp combo. And there you go. The New Day ended up winning the match. Post-match, we saw Gunther. Gunther was sitting at ringside for the match. He was furious. He ended up throwing the chair that he was sitting in. Gunther ended up staring at Kaiser. He ended up looking disgusted by what happened, and he walked off. Kaiser then got into the ring. He checked on Vinci. Gunther then shook his head, and he walked off. Kaiser then ended up helping Vinci up, and he embraced Vinci. Kaiser then helped Vinci out of the ring, and then Kaiser shoved Vinci into the LED apron. Kaiser then ended up hitting Vinci in the chest with a running kick. He ended up driving Vinci headfirst into the ring post. Kaiser then started shouting in German at Vinci, and he ended up kicking Vinci in his ribs. Kaiser then ended up pressing Vinci against the commentary table and started chopping away at him. Kaiser then ended up whipping Vinci hard into the ring steps. He then ended up grabbing Vinci, put him on the ring steps, and officials and refs end up running down to stop Kaiser. Officials and refs end up backing Kaiser away. So Kaiser was trying to go up the ramp, but Kaiser ended up breaking away. He ended up running around ringside, and he ended up delivering a drop kick to Vinci's head, and Vinci's head went into the ring steps. So Vinci was completely out of it. Kaiser then walked off on Vinci. Kaiser then ended up going through the curtain into gorilla position. Gunther was waiting for Kaiser. To which Kaiser ended up saying to Gunther, "I told you I would get it done." To which Gunther ended up smiling at Kaiser. He was proud of Kaiser for taking out Vinci. So pretty much that was basically that. So, this breakup here of Imperium. We knew that it was going to come, sooner or later. There was, cracks, being seen in this. But we all knew this was going to happen at some point. But Kaiser's going to go off. He's with Gunther. Where does Vinci go? Maybe in the draft, they draft him down to NXT maybe? Or he could be on the list of budget cuts, whenever the next budget cuts, come out. Which, unfortunately, news broke out today that Von Wagner, who was in NXT, he got released today. And I liked Von Wagner. He was very good in the ring. That's how the way, I see, what they do with Vinci. So we'll have to wait and see. Does he get drafted to NXT, or is he on the next list of budget cuts from WWE? And then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had a vignette of Andrade. Andrade ended up saying that he is many things, but the one thing he's not is someone's fool. So it showed Andrade turning on the Judgment Day to stand with Rey Mysterio. Andrade then ended up saying that they were never loyal from the beginning and didn't want to do business with him, and that they wanted a servant. Andrade ended up saying that nobody tells him what to do. But that was basically what Andrade had to say. And then we had Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre made his way to the ring, and he got into the ring. He stood in the center of the ring. Crowd was chanting for CM Punk. McIntyre then sat down, cross-legged, in the middle of the ring, just like CM Punk. McIntyre ended up warning the cameraman not to shoot up his kilt. So McIntyre wanted to know why the fans continue to chant Punk's name whenever he's out here. He ended up saying the amount of evidence through the years proves Punk hates the fans. He ended up saying the only person Punk hates more than the fans is himself. So McIntyre was like, have you ever loved something so much only to realize it doesn't love you back? McIntyre ended up saying that's his complex relationship with professional wrestling. So the crowd was starting to give McIntyre, the what treatment, where they're all going, what? What? So McIntyre ended up telling the fans to say what if they French kissed their cousins. McIntyre ended up saying that they're sick because there were some fans there that admitted to it. They were like, what? So McIntyre ended up saying that the most complex relationship some guys have is with their right hand. McIntyre ended up saying that he can sit here and complain all night, but he won't do that, even though he was attacked from behind at WrestleMania by CM Punk. He ended up saying then Damian Priest, who could never beat him one-on-one, hit him with the briefcase like a coward. He ended up saying that the next night on Monday Night Raw, he didn't get his automatic rematch. Instead, he was in a fatal four-way. He ended up saying that CM Punk interfered and Jay took advantage of it, like a coward. McIntyre ended up saying that his back is against the wall, and he'll come out swinging and target the King of the Ring tournament. So it looks like Drew McIntyre is going to be in the King of the Ring tournament. So Sheamus ended up coming out. Sheamus returned last week on Monday Night Raw. Good to see Sheamus back. You know, he got his old theme back, which is awesome. Sheamus came out. You know, he was dressed to compete. He came out to the ring. Sheamus got on the mic. He ended up asking McIntyre what is going on. He ended up saying that he's sitting in the ring sulking about everyone being a coward. Sheamus ended up saying that he only sees a person who is unwilling to take responsibility for his mistakes. He ended up saying some might say that makes McIntyre a coward. He ended up asking if McIntyre is going to sit there or stand up. McIntyre then stood up. Sheamus ended up saying that he's known McIntyre for 20 years. He ended up saying for the last 4, he's only heard from McIntyre about how he was robbed of his career-defining WrestleMania moment. He ended up saying then at WrestleMania 40, McIntyre got his moment and became champion in front of a live crowd. He ended up saying McIntyre's brother and wife were in the crowd, and then McIntyre blew it over a stupid social media spat. So Sheamus ended up saying that McIntyre should be standing here with the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist. He ended up saying over a meme and a t-shirt, he threw it all away. Sheamus ended up saying that he's McIntyre's friend, and that they traveled the roads and drank a lot, and had banger after banger matches together. So Sheamus ended up saying that he's here to tell McIntyre the hard truth. A one-armed CM Punk kicked McIntyre's arse. So we had a Punk chant end up picking up from the crowd. McIntyre then ended up saying that he doesn't care what the crowd thinks they know. He ended up saying Sheamus knows better than anyone what CM Punk did to his career when he was a kid. McIntyre ended up saying that this obsession is taking down his career. He ended up saying that he needs to get it out of his head. McIntyre then paced around. He ended up saying that they could have had this conversation backstage. He ended up saying that if Sheamus wants the hard truth, he has one for him. He ended up saying before Sheamus was injured, it was banger after banger after banger. And then McIntyre was like, oh, now it looks to be burger after burger after burger, which made me laugh. Sheamus then ended up laughing as well. So Sheamus ended up saying that McIntyre is getting good at the one-liners, and he deserves it. He ended up saying that he can lose the weight. Sheamus then ended up telling McIntyre to stop blaming everyone else for his mistakes. McIntyre ended up saying it is everyone else, and that he's the Ginger Pillsbury Doughboy, the Flubber Man. He ended up saying those aren't his words, and that's what the guys in the back were saying about him last week. So Sheamus ended up saying that he doesn't care what they say. McIntyre ended up saying that he cares because he is Sheamus' friend. He ended up saying whether Sheamus realizes it or not, he always tells the truth. McIntyre ended up saying that he is Sheamus' only friend here. He ended up saying in the past they would throw fists and drink pints after. McIntyre ended up saying that he now only fights if it's worthwhile, and that this is not worthwhile. McIntyre ended up saying that he will stand by the commentary table and watch Sheamus' back. So then Nakamura ended up making his way out. Nakamura was going to face Sheamus after Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. So then, as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had the match. Sheamus versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This was just a very meh match in my opinion. Match ended up getting on the way. Nakamura ended up clearly taking it to Sheamus. Sheamus ended up reversing the whip, but Nakamura ended up holding the ropes. Sheamus ended up charging, and Nakamura ended up pulling the top rope down to get him to the apron. Sheamus then started punching Nakamura back. He ended up grabbing at Nakamura, but Nakamura ended up elbowing Sheamus in the face. Sheamus then blocked the kick and forearmed Nakamura down. Sheamus ended up heading to the top rope, but Nakamura ended up kicking his feet out. Sheamus was lying across the top turnbuckle. Nakamura ended up hitting a running knee to Sheamus' ribs. He ended up choking Sheamus in the corner. Sheamus ended up challenging Nakamura to give him more, to which Sheamus ended up forearming away at Nakamura. Nakamura ended up bringing Sheamus to his knees with some kicks. Nakamura then hit the ropes. Sheamus popped up and clotheslined Nakamura down. So Sheamus had Nakamura on the apron. He ended up delivering the 10 beats of the Bodhrán to Nakamura. So Nakamura ended up slowly pulling himself up on the apron. Sheamus ended up sending Nakamura to the floor. Sheamus ended up getting Nakamura back into the ring, but Nakamura ended up quickly rolling out. McIntyre then waved at Sheamus. Sheamus ended up lifting Nakamura, but Nakamura ended up sliding off and kicked him in the head. Nakamura then bounced Sheamus off the commentary table. Nakamura then climbed onto the barricade. He leapt off with a flying knee to Sheamus' neck, which was, of course, surgically repaired. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. So then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Sheamus ended up catching Nakamura with an Irish Curse backbreaker. Nakamura soon got up. Sheamus ended up hitting Nakamura with another Irish Curse backbreaker. Sheamus headed to the top rope for a diving clothesline. And Sheamus ended up going for the cover. Nakamura ended up kicking out. We had later on Nakamura ended up stunning Sheamus with a running knee to his head. He ended up going for the cover, to which Sheamus kicked out. Nakamura was setting up for the Kinshasa, but McIntyre ended up approaching him. Nakamura then charged, but Sheamus countered that with a tilt-a-whirl power slam. So Sheamus was signaling for the end, where he was patting his chest, going broke, which the crowd ended up doing that. Nakamura then sidestepped the bro kick from Sheamus. Sheamus ended up ducking some kicks, and he ended up hitting a vicious knee to Nakamura's face. He ended up going for the cover, to which Nakamura kicked out. Sheamus then set up for the Celtic Cross, but Nakamura ended up getting out of that. Nakamura ended up hitting a pair of pump kicks to Sheamus. Nakamura backed up to the third pump kick, but Sheamus ended up delivering the bro kick to Nakamura. Sheamus ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Sheamus ended up winning the match. Post-match, Drew McIntyre, he was pleased, what Sheamus did to Nakamura, and Drew McIntyre ended up giving Sheamus a round of applause, and that was basically that. But Nakamura, he can't even catch a break. And then we had Kathy Kelly. Kathy Kelly was backstage with Sami Zayn. Kathy Kelly ended up asking Sami Zayn how he is processing everything that happened. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he was hurt by what happened, and that there's a lot he wants to say, but he's biting his tongue. He ended up saying that Chad Gable is going to explain himself, and that he will be listening. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he is unsure how he'll defend his actions. So then Bronson Reed walked up to Sami Zayn. He ended up telling Sami Zayn not to mind Chad Gable. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he has bigger problems to worry about. Sami Zayn then held up the Intercontinental Championship. He ended up saying, anytime, any place, to Bronson Reed. Sami Zayn then turned back to Kathy Kelly, but she ended up running away as Bronson Reed ended up attacking Sami Zayn from behind. Bronson Reed ended up saying that Sami Zayn is looking at the next Intercontinental Champion. So Bronson Reed was just tossing Sami Zayn around. Officials ended up quickly pulling Bronson Reed away. And Bronson Reed ended up avalanching Sami Zayn. Pretty much that was basically that. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, we had Chad Gable. Chad Gable was standing in the ring with Otis and Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree. So Chad Gable explained his actions as to why, he attacked Sami Zayn last week. So Chad Gable got on the mic. He ended up saying, considering what just happened to Sami Zayn, he's had a rough couple of weeks. He ended up saying at least what he did to Sami Zayn was justified. He ended up saying that it was a capacity crowd in Montreal. And that it was Chad Gable versus his hometown hero, Sami Zayn. Chad Gable ended up saying that they tore the house down, and Sami Zayn walked out as the Intercontinental Champion. He ended up saying that it's a great story, one that he could even accept if he didn't want to, not Sami Zayn. Chad Gable ended up saying that Sami Zayn found him weeping in the corner and put the Intercontinental Championship in his face. Chad Gable ended up saying that he took it on the chin and showed class. He ended up raising Sami Zayn's hand to give him his moment. He ended up saying even that wasn't enough. He ended up saying that Sami Zayn then found his wife in the front row and brought the Intercontinental Championship down to celebrate with her, as he stood right there. So Chad Gable was like, oh, that was my moment. That should have been me at WrestleMania. So basically, Chad Gable was channeling his Dolph Ziggler, his inner Dolph Ziggler. You know, remember when Dolph Ziggler was like, it should have been me? That was what Chad Gable was doing here. So Chad Gable was like, oh, that should have been me at WrestleMania. That should have been me with my daughter celebrating in the front row with the Intercontinental Championship. He ended up saying instead he was wasting his time training Sami Zayn. And Chad Gable ended up saying that he has been wasting his time training a bunch of losers. He was taking shots to Otis, Akira Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree. So Chad Gable ended up getting in Akira Tozawa's face, to which Akira Tozawa looked pained by what Chad Gable just said. Chad Gable then got in Tozawa's face. He ended up saying he has a problem with Tozawa. All he does is his dance and rack up loss after loss. And that's pathetic. Chad Gable's not wrong about that. So he went to Maxine Dupree. Chad Gable ended up saying Maxine Dupree is pretty as a princess, but dumb as a box of rocks. Chad Gable ended up saying that he gave Maxine Dupree everything and has gotten nothing in return. He's not wrong about that. So he ended up saying for Otis, he doesn't even want to get started on Otis. Chad Gable ended up saying that Otis is his prized pupil and #1 guy, and he has proven himself beyond a shadow of doubt to be the biggest disappointment of them all. To which the crowd ended up booing at that. You know, the crowd was cheering for Otis. Chad Gable ended up saying this is why they signed up with the Alpha Academy. He ended up saying that this honest feedback is what they signed up for, and they need to get on the same page and focus on him. He ended up saying that they're going to win his Intercontinental Championship together, and that they'll help him no matter what. So Otis, Maxine Dupree, and Akira Tozawa looked conflicted. Gable ended up wanting them to say it together. He then ordered Otis to say it. Otis then ended up thinking about it, and he looked like he didn't want to say it, but he ended up sheepishly saying, no matter what. In that tone, he was like, no matter what. So Chad Gable ended up saying, good. And that was basically that. But want to see where they're going to take, Chad Gable, of him being a heel. Like I said, they channeled, WWE channeled Chad Gable with, Dolph Ziggler. When Dolph Ziggler was like, it should have been me. That's what they're giving to Chad Gable here. Chad Gable was like, oh, it should have been my moment. It should have been my moment at WrestleMania. It should have been me with my daughter celebrating with the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, channeling his inner Dolph Ziggler. But overall, I thought it was an okay segment. And then we saw Ricochet. Ricochet was warming up, and Dominic walked up to Ricochet. Ricochet ended up saying that he's upset that Dominic is not cleared because he wants to beat him. He ended up saying instead, him and Andrade will have to settle for JD McDonagh and Santos Escobar. So Ricochet ended up saying that he'll be facing McDonagh on WWE Speed. I mean, who watches WWE Speed? It's on X every Wednesday. I mean, Who watches Speed? So Dominic wasn't impressed by that, and he then turned around and he saw Liv Morgan. So Dominic and Liv Morgan had a face-to-face, and that was that. Both Dominic and Liv did not say one word. And as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Nia Jax was backstage. And Nia Jax ended up saying that we're having an all-star women's battle royal for the Women's World Championship. 14 women, which means there are 13 women and one monster. To which Nia Jax ended up saying that she is that monster, and that she will terrorize them and eliminate them one by one until she's the last woman standing. She ended up saying that she will be the Women's World Champion. So that was that. And then we went to Ricochet and Andrade versus JD McDonagh and Santos Escobar. Dominic Mysterio was out there. This was just meh, in my opinion. Andrade started off the match against McDonagh. McDonagh ducked the right hand from Andrade, but Andrade ended up laying into McDonagh with some right hands. McDonagh then backed Andrade into the ropes. He ended up going for a chop. Andrade ended up avoiding that. Andrade ended up chopping McDonagh. McDonagh ran to his corner and tagged in Santos Escobar. Escobar ended up elbowing Andrade, ended up sending him into the ropes. Escobar ended up dropping down, and Andrade ended up flipping over Escobar. Andrade ended up hitting a shoulder tackle to Escobar. Ricochet then tagged in. Andrade and Ricochet ended up leapfrogging Escobar. They ended up hitting a double team back elbow to Escobar. And then Andrade and Ricochet delivered stereo drop kicks to Escobar. Ricochet ended up going for the cover. Escobar ended up kicking out. Ricochet then uppercutted Escobar, ended up drop kicking him. So Ricochet ended up hitting a snapmare. He followed up with an elbow drop to Escobar. He went for the cover, and Escobar ended up kicking out. So later on, Escobar ended up pulling Ricochet into the middle rope. McDonagh ended up taking in. He started stomping away at Ricochet. McDonagh ended up sending Ricochet into the ropes for a back elbow. He ended up going for the cover, and Ricochet kicked out. So McDonagh ended up connecting with a back suplex to Ricochet. And the crowd was chanting, shave your mustache to Dominic, because Dominic was sporting a mustache which looks absolutely atrocious. So they were all going, shave your mustache. So Ricochet ended up punching McDonagh, and he hit the ropes. Escobar distracted the ref as Dominic ended up tripping Ricochet. Escobar and McDonagh then took advantage of the match. Escobar ended up flying off the apron with a hurricanrana to Ricochet on the floor. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Escobar ended up taking it to Ricochet. He ended up hitting Ricochet with some running double knees to his chest. McDonagh ended up taking in. He ended up hitting Ricochet with a snap suplex, which was followed by a leg drop. McDonagh then ended up knocking Andrade down. Escobar ended up taking in. He ended up going for the cover on Ricochet, but Ricochet ended up kicking out. Ricochet fought back at Escobar and McDonagh, and then he ended up taking in Andrade. So at the end of the match, Andrade ended up hitting Escobar with a back elbow. Andrade then ended up hitting McDonagh with a La Sombra Shadow, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Ricochet and Andrade ended up winning the match. Post-match, Damian Priest ended up running in from behind. He ended up sending Andrade shoulder first into the ring post. Priest then ended up super kicking Ricochet down. Priest then ended up grabbing Ricochet, and he ended up delivering the Razor's Edge to him. Priest then ended up wiping out Andrade with the South of Heaven. Priest then looked at Dominic on the apron, and he shouted to Dominic in Spanish. McDonagh then ended up asking Dominic what Priest just said. Priest ended up saying that he said that he doesn't need anyone. He just needs himself. So Priest then walked off on Dominic and McDonagh. And pretty much that was basically that. overall, just a very meh match it was. And then we had a vignette as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. A vignette on Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark ended up saying that it's been a year since she was drafted to Monday Night Raw. She ended up saying that she was told to sit and listen, and that she didn't want to do that. She ended up saying that in her first year, she took out Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch. She ended up saying that she was inches from Money in the Bank and took Rhea Ripley to the limit. She ended up saying she is just getting started. So that was what Zoe Stark had to say. They're trying to, build up Zoe Stark after, a year that she's been on Monday Night Raw. But who knows? She may be drafted to SmackDown, maybe. Then we had Jackie Redmond. Jackie Redmond was backstage with Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Jackie Redmond ended up mentioning that Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell have used underhanded tactics to win in recent weeks. But tonight they have to compete against each other. So Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell began to speak. But we had a commotion, going on. So Jackie Redmond ended up going over. And all we saw was Nia Jax and Liv Morgan going at it. And officials were shown pulling the both of them apart. Becky Lynch then was shown walking. Becky Lynch took the mic. She ended up saying that it's getting chaotic around here. So she started walking. And she saw Maxine Dupree talking to Ivy Nile. Becky Lynch ended up walking up to Maxine Dupree. She ended up saying, this is your first time fighting for a title. But she needs to prove it won't be her last. So Becky Lynch then continued walking. She ended up saying that she will be the next Women's World Champion. So the camera followed Becky Lynch through gorilla position and, out to the stage, which, I like these camera movements. Going from backstage to gorilla position, out to the stage. I'm loving this. And then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, they announced what we're going to see next week on Monday Night Raw. It's going to be the conclusion of the WWE draft. And Logan Paul will be on Monday Night Raw next week. And also next week, we're going to see a 6-man tag team match with Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and JD McDonagh taking on Jey Uso, Ricochet, and Andrade. So that's all announced for Monday Night Raw next week. Main event. The Women's Battle Royal to determine the new Women's World Champion. And it was the man Becky Lynch, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell, Natalya, Ivy Nile, Maxine Dupree, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Liv Morgan, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter, and Nia Jax. And, this was your Battle Royal. Did not even care for it. The final three, it came down to Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch. We had both Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. They're trying to take out Nia Jax. And there was a point where Chelsea Green was eliminated by Natalya. But the refs didn't even catch that because they were focused on what was going on with Nia Jax and Becky Lynch on the outside. So Chelsea Green was just automatically back in the Battle Royal. But unfortunately, of course, she got eliminated. So Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan both eliminated Nia Jax. And so was Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan that came down, to the final two. And in the end, Becky Lynch ended up winning the Battle Royal. So Becky Lynch is your new Women's World Champion. So she's going to hold the title. And then when Rhea Ripley comes back, we're going to get a rematch again between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. We're going to get a WrestleMania rematch. But a lot of people are like, oh, well, Liv Morgan she's going to walk out as the Women's World Champion after the end of Monday Night Raw. Yeah. Look what happened. At least the right person won it in Becky Lynch. But yeah, Becky Lynch is your new Women's World Champion. But overall, Monday Night Raw, awful show it was. Terrible. But, the draft starts Friday on SmackDown. Things are going to change. Superstars moving from SmackDown to Raw, Raw to SmackDown. And NXT is also being involved in the draft. Maybe we'll get some superstars, being drafted back down to NXT. And we'll get some NXT, drafts. And some of the superstars from NXT will go to Raw and SmackDown. The superstars that are ready and are willing to be brought up to either brand, Raw, SmackDown. But looking forward to the draft. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite, and I'll give my thoughts in my Dynamite review on what I thought of AEW Dynasty. Yes, I did watch it last night, so my thoughts will be in my Dynamite review. So, see you all on Wednesday.